Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Generative Geek. In today's episode, I'm going to walk you through generate a process that will allow you to generate video chapters from a YouTube URL. Now, chapters is a very useful and an interesting way using which you can allow your users to find interesting segments they might be interested in. So let's just say I'll just take a video that I made earlier about how to automate viral shorts with Python. Now, in this video, if you see, there are various chapters. There's an introduction chapter, there's a setting up of the environment chapter, then there is something around downloading videos with PyTube. Now, depending on where the user is in their own learning journey, instead of watching the entire video, they might want to watch just a specific section and find value in your videos. If you don't have sections or chapters in your video, generally it tends to bore the users, is what I have also seen from my own YouTube analytics. Though my channel is very small right now, but even then I can see that there is a big correlation. Right now, this is one video that I did earlier where there is no chapter information. This is my last video, just before I left for a vacation. I'm coming back now. How to build an AI nutrition monitor. And I can see there's no chapter information, right? In today's video, what we are going to do is we're going to take this URL, which is a video URL for this video, and then following the process where we'll take the YouTube video URL first, then we're going to download the transcript, and then using Google Gemini, we are going to analyze the transcript and find interesting non-intersecting content. Right, so non-intersecting is very important because you want chapters which are slightly distant away, and wherever there is a movement in the content, so let's just say I'm discussing setting up the environment. Now I'm talking about ffmpeg, so you want those chapters to be very distinctly available, right? You don't want within the setting of the environment, now let's set up keys, right? So maybe you don't want that, right? So we'll let AI analyze that and give us where there are breaks in segments, and then using a certain process in which you have to process the output you get to the final video chapters. We'll use that process, which is nothing but conversion from the way it recognizes the time in the time scripts, in the transcript, to how YouTube or other channels usually want you to give chapter information, right? So we'll there's more like a post processing, so we'll do that. And using this process, you will be very comfortably able to generate interesting chapter information for any video of your choice, right? So let's just get started now. I'm going to use Google Collab for this. So the way to do it is, let's just first open your Google Collab, connect to any runtime. You don't need a GPU for this because the model calls are going to happen to the model, not you. We are not building a model here, right? So we don't need a GPU kind of a system. What we'll definitely need is that you once you have this, we'll have to install some dependencies. So let's get started, right? So the dependencies I'm going to make use of are PyTube for downloading the videos. We'll also need YouTube underscore transcript underscore API and Google hyphen generative hyphen AI, right? So these are the dependencies that we should be installing once the runtime is connected. So in my case, the runtime is connecting now. What I'll do is I'll quickly pause this video and come back as soon as this runtime is connected and the installation starts, right? So the runtime has now got connected and we can see the installation has started. So we are using PyTube, YouTube transcript API, and Google Generative AI. Now, if you have seen my other videos, you would have seen that I have made use of PyTube and YouTube transcript API in other videos as well. And other ideas that keep coming to me and I find them of interest, I tend to make videos of them. But there are there's so much now you can do with generative AI available, right? So now the installation is done. First thing what we'll do is we'll first have to configure our Google Generative AI. And for that, like I've done in the past, you should make use of this key icon and have your API key available. Now in my case, it's Google underscore API underscore key. And what you should do is, you should, if you don't already have one, you should create a key here and then give access of that key to the window, right? So that's the right way of doing keys and secrets with Google Collab. Now once my key is given access, I'll do google.generative AI as gen AI. Now this is the convention they have been following and I'm just borrowing from them. It makes sense to generally do user accepted or community accepted conventions. so that you a lot of times you will find code on the internet, and if you are following the convention, you can reuse that code a lot, right? So instead of doing a lot of refactoring, right? So user data dot get google underscore api underscore key. Now this should be the name of this variable should match with the name that you have given here. And once you have done that, then basically your, if you don't have one available, you can actually add a new secret, give it the name and the key, and give it access, and that's how you basically set up a variable, right? If you don't know, if you want to learn more about how to set up, there's a video I have done on Google Collab, just this, like, it's less than a 1 minute video, you should watch that, right? So once I've done this, I'll just run this cell. And always whenever you run these kind of things, what you want to do is you want to see if things are working fine for you or not. So what I'll do is I'll quickly uh, first run a check, and the way to do that is we are going to do genai.list underscore models, and we're going to print the model, right? So I just want to see if my key is able to make connection with Google Collab, and then list out all the models this Gen AI offers, right? So you can see there are a lot of models available. I'll just expand this a little. So you can see there are a lot of models available, and the way to read this is, let's say if I'm looking at Gemini 1.5 Pro latest, the way to look at it is that, look at the meta information, look at the display name, look at the description, then look at what are the supported generation methods, right? So there is a generate content, which means this is a content generation model. And not every model will have generate content, right? So you, if you want to use content generation, you will have to use a model that has generate content in it, right? So like embedding gecko 001 does not have one, right? So you cannot use that to generate content. Similarly, text bison 001 has only generate text, right? So you have to see which model you are using, and does it actually support the capability that you are expecting from it, right? So once you are done with this, I'm very sure I want to use Gemini Pro 1.5 latest. But like this, as models will keep growing, this is the way you can check, right? So now let's make use of PyTube. So from PyTube, import YouTube. I'll take the suggestions that Google Collab is giving me because they seem to be right. Next, what we'll do is we'll take the video URL, go back to the URL that you want, copy that, and paste it, right? So I want this URL, and I've just pasted that. Next, the way to do it is I'll say yt is equal to YouTube video underscore URL. We want the video underscore ID for the transcript. So video underscore ID is yt.video underscore ID. And for transcript, then we make use of the YouTube transcript API dot get underscore transcript. We pass the video underscore ID. Now, with this, what will happen is our transcript will, once I run this, our transcript should be available with us, right? So YouTube, even if the user has not generated a transcript of their own, YouTube now generates an auto transcript, and this is the transcript. Like, because this is my video, I know I did not upload any transcript, right? So but YouTube does uh, auto transcription, and it gives you the transcript, right? So this is the transcript in English language. And if you look at it, the transcript has a structure, right? It's a JSON with three keys. There's a text, there's a start duration, and there's an end duration. Now start, end, both are in seconds. So if you keep scrolling left, you can see, hey, this starts at 10 seconds, it ends, the duration is 4.44, that means it will end at 14.48. Similarly, this thing ends at 12.44, duration is 4.44, 4.4. So like this, you can see that there's a transcript available, right? So what we'll do now is we have the models, we are now connected with Google Gemini, and we have the transcript with us. Now is the time to actually bring in our prompt, right? So now is the time. If you look at the diagram I showed you earlier, we are at this point now where the transcript is available, and you can use anything. I can use LangChain plus OpenAI. I can use Google Gemini. I can use Claude. For this video, I'm using Google Gemini. But feel free, you can use anything, right? So I have had good success even with Claude models, right? But for this video, I'm using Google Gemini because it is free, right? And a lot of users keep asking me if I can make videos which support free models, right? So I'm using Google Gemini here. You just need a key in order to get started with Google Gemini. There is nothing else that is required. So we have the transcript. We are now going to feed it to Google Gemini, and in order to feed it to Google Gemini, we need to know, we have to give it some instruction, and we have to give it some input, right? So now let's get to the point where we write our input prompt. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring the prompt I have from the clipboard and paste it here and then walk you through the prompt, right? So this is my prompt. I'm saying, hey, this is an F string, so please respond to my text request with a list object. I'm saying, hey, give me a list object. Do not include any other text, explanation, or markdown text in your response. Only provide the list and nothing else. I'll be providing you with a SRT file. Now, if you look at it, this is basically an SRT file, right? This is the format of an SRT file, which is structured as a JSON object. This contains timecode data and captions for a video. Generate YouTube chapters representing the main section of the video by identifying significant topic changes. Now, this is the point where we are saying, hey, if you go back to the diagram, we want it to analyze the transcript and find interesting non-intersecting content. And this is how I'm basically putting my ask in the prompt, saying, hey, generate YouTube chapters representing the main sections of the video by identifying significant topic changes. What are the requirements? An input JSON object has each entry structured with text, start, and duration field. Start and duration are in seconds. Output should be a list of lists where each inner list has a chapter start time as first entry and title as second entry, right? So that's what we want, because YouTube, if you look at it, automating viral shorts, if you look at my description here, this is how the chapter information has to be given for YouTube, right? So it has to always start with 00, and then you give the time and you give the whatever you want as part of the segment, right? Whatever. So identifying viral segments, right? So basically whatever you want, that becomes the text, and then the time has to be written in minutes and seconds, right? So that's the way it wants. So we have to say, hey, output should be a list of lists, chapter title should accurately reflect topic changes and in chronological order. That's very important for YouTube. Include up to 20 chapters. I can even go down. I can say, hey, include up to 10 chapters focusing on the most important topics. Chapters should start at 0, even if the first SRT caption starts after 0. That's most important for YouTube. If you start this from 0 1, then YouTube does not consider it as a chapter, right? So as a chapter information. Time codes must be accurate and within the video duration. Ensure chapters cover the entire duration of the video from start to end. Chapter titles should be concise yet descriptive, usually within 50 characters. If there are no significant topic changes for an extended period, create chapters based on natural breaks or transitions in the content, right? So there can be times when, let's just say, there are no significant topic changes and you still want chapter information for those, or there can be such videos, right? So we are trying to build a prompt here that covers a lot of conditions, right? So you are making the prompt more and more clear for the AI, such that it understands that, hey, I'm not detecting any topic changes. They started discussing about a certain topic and they're still discussing that, but there are a lot of natural breaks that come in, right? So maybe that can be a good point to create chapter information. So we're just allowing the some free degree of movement to the AI, right? Avoid creating chapters for minor or irrelevant details and focus on the main topics and sections. Aim for a balanced chapter distribution that provides a meaningful overview of the video's content. Chapter time codes must be directly copied from the start field of the corresponding SRT entry, right? So then we have some added points to address: ensuring chapters span full video duration, keeping chapter titles concise. Again, it's same thing that we have already asked it to do, but making it more and more important for the AI, saying, hey, you know what? Don't miss these points, right? Then I'm giving it a sample output saying, hey, this is the kind of output I'm expecting from you. It's a list of lists. The first element is their start time, and then you have the introduction. Give me this list. Now if you look at it, this list has 176.1, but if you look at my thing, it has minutes and then seconds, right? So that's the post processing part I was discussing earlier, that once you have the interesting chapters, we want to process it such that YouTube will now understand what are the various video chapters, right? um, and then we, after giving it the sample output, we then say transcript text follows, and we just paste this variable, right? So this is the variable that we just got, right? So this is what we are doing here. I'll just run this prompt now. With this, the prompt is now run, and if you just want to see how the prompt looks like, I can just copy it saying, hey, input underscore prompt, and we'll run this cell, and you can see, please respond to my text. And if you go down, it has a lot of other things, right? So it has the entire transcript available here, right? So this is how it works. Now we'll start calling Google Generative AI. So we are still here. We have written the prompt, but we have not yet made the call. So we are not yet here, right? So we are going to make the call to Google Gemini now, right? So the way to do it is we'll say, what is the model? I'll say Gen AI dot generative model, and we'll give it the name, right? So the name has to be the name that you saw earlier on the models when we call the model list. If you are not able to recollect, I'm talking about these, right? So I'm going to call this model. You should go through what all models are available, and then pick the model that you want to call. I'm calling this Gemini 1.5 Pro latest, right? So this is the name of the model, right? So I'm calling this model. This name is what is required to be passed. I'm calling this, and then we are going to say result is equal to model dot generate underscore content, and we'll pass it the input underscore prompt. Now at this point we have the model, and we also have we are now sending it the prompt, right? So we are sending the prompt to the model, and we want to see what result we get back, right? So the model is still processing. So we are technically at this point where we have made a call to Google Gemini. We are expecting interesting chapters to come back to us, right? So some result has come. The way to look at it is we'll just say result.text, and if you see, it's a list of lists that has come back to us with the first title, first thing as first as a number, and then the caption. Again, same thing is what is getting repeated. And now I have the result available. So the interesting chapters have now come back to me. What I now need to do is need to go through this list and convert it into a format that YouTube understands, which is convert this into hours, minutes, and seconds, something like that. Basically, minutes and seconds. And if I do that, then I have the I will be able to have the thing available, right? So the process chapters available. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to call import AST, and we are going to say, hey, I'll also write some comments, so that if Google AI sees interesting comments and Google Collab AI wants to give me the code, I will just take that code, right? So of the list back into an actual list, right? So always try to write, if you are using Collab or if you have GitHub Copilot, my suggestion is always write meaningful comments, because those comments are then read by the AI, and it can actually give you a lot of interesting suggestions, right? Like the suggestion it is giving me now, it says output list is ast.literal eval. That's exactly what I wanted to do, right? So instead of output list, I'll just call it chapters, because these are my chapters. And then I'll just say I have to write a function to convert uh, seconds into minutes colon seconds format, right? So that's what I wanted to do. So maybe it will give me so it is giving me something. I'll just accept it and then go through the code, right? So convert underscore seconds, it takes seconds, and says minutes is seconds by 60. Okay, I think it should just be an int here. That's what I want it to be. And seconds can easily be a float. So I'll just do some I'm just adding some protective code here, right? So that it doesn't bomb. So convert seconds to float first, then remaining seconds is int of, it should be int of float of seconds, because I don't want it to bomb, and therefore I'm bomb in the sense it can give some error. Then I'm saying return minutes 0 to t, okay, or rather just say minutes, and remaining seconds 0 to, right? So that should be good enough. Convert underscore seconds, I'll just say seconds to minutes underscore seconds, right? So I'm just giving it the name, just change the name, and I hope it will work. So we have this method now. Now I want to iterate over the what I want to do is I want to iterate through the chapter list and format each entry, right? So that's what I want to do. So I'll say formatted chapters is a blank list, and then for chapter, in chapter start time is second to minute seconds, chapter 0, and then I don't like this code. Rather, I will go for some sort of a list comprehension, because I think there's no point writing that code. I would rather have seconds to minutes underscore seconds, and I'll pass it chapter 0 comma chapter 1, and then we are going to say for chapter in chapters, right? So for chapter in chapters, I hope that was the name, right? So chapters, yes. So what we are doing is we are just doing some sort of a list comprehension here. We are calling this method, we are passing it chapter 0 and chapter 1, and we are looping through each chapter that is available, right? The code that Google Collab offered was also similar, but if something can be done in one line, why waste like 4 lines, right? So that was the reason. And then let's just print the formatted chapters, right? So the way to do that is for time comma title in formatted underscore chapters, we'll just say print f time, and we'll just say title, right? So this is what it is. Let's just see if it works. No, takes one, but two were given. It says it takes one, but we have given two inputs to it. Okay, so I'm just going to look at it now. Yeah, I can see that we have given something is not right. So format seconds, and then we'll give it chapter 1 for chapter, yeah. Yeah. So here basically what we are doing is we are saying, hey, create a list, seconds to minutes. Yeah, this is where it ends. Then this, and I think this should not be there. Yeah, this should hopefully work. Let's see. Yeah. So you can see I restricted it to 10 chapters as part of the prompt, and this is what we have got, right? So um, 5 minutes 31 seconds coding the UI sidebar and image upload, right? So if I go here to 5 minutes and 31 seconds, I should now from here uh, something build up around coding the UI, right? So I can see that there's a lot of work happening around coding the UI in this video. So it does look like the chapter information it has given is correct. You can restrict it to even 5, or you can make it even more interesting by saying, hey, you know what, instead of hard coding how many chapters you want, you can enrich the prompt further, and then or add some time driven information. If it's a video which is less than 20 minutes, why even have so many chapters, right? Something like that. Or you can even have another post processing where you can look at the chapter information and the transcript and ask another LLM, like maybe a Claude, or maybe an evaluation LLM, saying, hey, does this look right to you? Are there pieces that you think should not be there, right? So things like that, those can also be done here. But this is it. This is what I wanted to talk about in today's short video. I hope you learned something new and interesting. Feel free to give any URL here, any YouTube URL. Have your keys available on Google Gemini, and you should be able to run this, right? So as part of this video, I'm going to share the Collab notebook link within the description of this video. So feel free to go through the code as well. Thank you so much, and have a good one. God bless you.